This might be the coolest looking PC case I've ever built in, but it's also the worst design one that I've ever worked in. An open ITX case, fully water cooled with an RTX 5080 and a 9800 X3D sounds insane until you actually try to build in it. Here's how it all spiraled out of control. The all-toned PW core officially launched on Kickstarter January 12th, and they've sent over a unit for me to test out. And I thought, I haven't done an ITX build with such a unique case in quite a while. It comes as a flat pack. However, the really cool thing about this is that it comes with the full custom water cooling loop, including the tubes pre-bent. So you get your CPU block, you get 2 radiators, you get the pump res combo, the fan and the case all in one system. It is worth mentioning that this case is not fully built out yet. It comes as a flat pack, and I've built it to the point where I can now install the motherboard, I can now install the power supply, because once the power supply is on, then I need to install more panels for the radiator brackets. Each wall of the case is triple layered acrylic, and the process took me around 5 minutes to put together to this point. The rear will fit a full ATX size power supply, and the radiator bracket houses 2 240mm radiators cooled by 1 massive fan. I'm very interested in how the CPU temps are going to turn out, so let's get building. Our motherboard today is the ROG Strix X870i gaming Wi-Fi motherboard. I've got a few ITX motherboards on hand, however, this particular motherboard has a lot of the features that I'm after. We actually have 2 40 gigabit per second USB Type-C ports, a 10 gig one, and then we have lots of USB Type-A 10 gig as well. It's also got built-in Wi-Fi, so if I want to take my little mini PC on the go, if I've got to edit somewhere, say I'm at PAX or Computex or CES, I can take the PC, use the Wi-Fi, so it makes it nice and handy for when I'm out and about. It's also got plenty of built-in NVMe support, which of course we're going to go with because NVMe's will speed up our workflow. We've got our 9800 X3D CPU out today. This is going to be one awesome ITX gaming PC paired with that RTX 5080. We have 8 cores, 16 threads, so we're still going to be able to do some heavy workloads. We can record at the same time. We can even render our videos on this CPU if need be, but this is one beast of a gaming CPU. Let's get it installed. My choice of NVMe today is the crucial T700 Pro. It is a 4TB Gen 5 drive with read and write up to 12,400 megabytes per second. I want to keep this build compact, clean, the least amount of cables as possible. So if I could just slot this into the motherboard, not worry about any SATA cables or anything like that, get the most amount of speed and capacity possible, well, it's going to be an NVMe that will achieve that. Now, being heavy into rendering and editing, our PC is going to be performing a lot of workload, so we want to put a large amount of RAM in. We're going for 64 gigs. This is AMD Expo ready. It's the Corsair Vengeance RGB DDR5 memory, and this one's actually running at 6,000 megahertz. Intel's more stable at those higher speeds. AMD, you need to clock it back, and that's why this is an AMD Expo ready kit. It should just work straight out of the box. Autone made this awesome custom plate for us with Designs by IFR logo on it, but unfortunately it doesn't fit properly because when I go to try and put the screws in, they don't line up because the heat shield of the NVMe sticks out a little bit too far, and so it's preventing me from screwing it in. So either I take this out of the build or I just kind of sit it in place with one screw. I'm tempted to do one screw just to try and make it work, but yeah, I'm not sure. For our power delivery today, we need something reliable. We've got high-end parts inside this system, and so efficient power is always something that I look for in a high-end build. This is the KN1000 from PC Cooler. Now, much like a lot of power supplies out there, they come with these plastic-coated cables instead of embossed cables like this power supply. They make the look of the cables much more premium and neater when you put them all in the build. We also have Japanese capacitors for the quality, and we also have a silent smart fan mode where the fan will only ramp up based on the load of the power supply. This makes for really quiet system operation when the power supply is barely being used. We've also got the brand new PCIe 5.1 connector, and this has the Intel ATX 3.1 standard, meaning that the center pins on the connector itself are longer and they will not provide the full 600 watts if it senses that one of them is loose. That means much less chance of any GPUs burning up, because once you have cables loosening and there's still a full 600 watts being provided, that's when it can get dangerous. You don't have those worries with this power supply. Let's get it installed. My first negative with the case is when we go to install the power supply, I initially wanted to put it like this to give it a bit more breathing room. Unfortunately, the screw holes don't actually line up with the power supply this way, so I actually have to install the power supply this way. There is a little bit of clearance between the motherboard and the power supply, so there will be a little bit of fresh air. It's not completely choked off, but that's just one thing to keep in mind when using this case. As you can see through this gap, there's a little bit of room through to the other side, so it still is going to be bringing in cool air. It's not going to kill the power supply. And you have to remember that we're also going to be putting a radiator bracket on the rear. So honestly, it's probably the most efficient way to do it this way, but one thing to keep in mind. Second thing about this build I didn't like is I didn't receive any fan screws. So I've gone into my spare screw box and I've found 4 fan screws which fit perfectly. So we should be able to install the radiators at the back. This has to be one of the most painful cases I've ever put together. This kit doesn't even include the radiator screws. They're nowhere to be seen. This is all I have left. I could somehow make these 4 work, but they're not even what I'm meant to use with the case. Honestly, this build is getting really frustrating at this point. I'm really disappointed with this back section. Look how much the big fan covers of the radiators. There's still so much up the top here, down the bottom, all around the edges, which are not getting air pulled through them. Not to mention that we're pushing air straight into cables and into the back of a power supply. This is not efficient at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if the CPU ran a little warmer than expected, but we'll test it out later in the build. This is such a poor design. The Molex power connector is hanging down the bottom, but because we've got the radiators on the back now, we can't put any cables back inside, so now I have to have the power of the Molex come out the top here just in order to cycle this pump when we're feeding liquid into it. Now I'm gonna have a cable hanging up here like this and plugged into there. It's gonna look so ugly. Honestly, this build is really frustrating me. I don't know what else they want me to do with this fan cable. There's no way to actually get it inside of the build. No holes up the top, down the sides or anything like that. So I've literally just put the cables in between the radiator and the panel there. This is not well thought out here either. For today's system, we're going to be using the ROG Astral RTX 5080. It's the Hatsune Miku edition, and this thing is an absolute brick. However, the case says it can support up to any size GPU, so I want to be testing that. I'm going to put one of the biggest GPUs that we own in this case. I think it's actually going to stick up much higher than the case, so we'll see how well the case actually supports it. And the RTX 5080 is also a great pairing with the 9800 X3D CPU. So we've been provided with some pre-bent tubing, and if you could see this run here coming from the CPU block going up and then into the radiator. Unfortunately, our motherboard here, when I have this 90-degree fitting in, it hits this NVMe heatsink. And so I actually need to apply an extension fitting to get past this heatsink. But then that means that this tube run does not work anymore, that comes up the top and then goes into the radiator at the rear there, because we're now extending this tube out a bit further. So the pre-bent tubes are no good for us. And because they're black, most tubes that I have are just the normal clear PETG or acrylic. So if I want everything uniform, I'd basically have to re-bend everything. I'm not sure how well the GPU I/O was really thought of. You can see the top display port is actually half cut off. And then when I want to go and put a display cable in, I've actually pre-bent it, and I still cannot really get it in without forcing it because this bottom acrylic plate here is pushing up against it. So there's not a lot of room there to work with. I think I will get it in by forcing it, but like that's really an afterthought there. There needs to be a bit more room between the I/O and the bottom plate. This desk is not good enough for a setup. It wobbles more than my belly. So FlexiSpot have sent over their E7 Pro standing desk. Being at the desk all day editing can be bad for our backs. So having the ability to sit, stand, or even lay down will be so good for my back. Our new desk can support even the heaviest of setups, all the way up to 440 pounds of static capacity. It can even height adjust between 25 inches and 50.6 inches. If you watch some of my older videos, my older desk produced so much wobble. This desk barely has any. Oh, even the dial is touch sensitive. It's not even buttons, you barely have to press it and it reacts right away. It's nice and smooth. You also have a locking button there, and we have 4 different presets. I'll set one for sitting and one for standing. And you also have USB, so if you need to do any charging, you can do that with this desk. FlexiSpot offers a range of different colors and tabletop options, guys. Get in quick, go check it out. Can I hop down now? Go down! FlexiSpot also provide 15 years warranty, so they're very confident in their products, and there is a 30-day risk-free return service guarantee. So if you're interested, you can go and check out FlexiSpot's website and explore the E7 Pro and its accessories. We'll also have a discount code for you on screen for 30 bucks off, and I'll also leave it in the description. We've got not one, but 2 165 Hz 1440p monitors. This is the lit one's Easeglow H02, a desk lamp that is better for eye care because of its ultra soft glow. By replacing a normal desk lamp with the ultra soft glow of the H02, there is less strain on your eyes. And we know how bad that can get when you're sitting at a computer all day typing. And because the product is nice and flat with a nice chamfered edge, you actually get a wider glow area. It softens the light so much more. And with a softer light, it also means reduced screen glare. We're also able to achieve less screen glare because the product is fully adjustable. Up and down, sideways, rotation down in the mid arm, and even at the bottom of the arm, you can rotate it down like so. I've kept this extremely dark so you can actually see the layered lighting effect that this lights create because it's lit from both sides. You can see how it transitions from the first layer to the second layer, a little more orange on this side as well. Whereas at the front, you can see that it is in full brightness, very bright. We've also got this awesome wireless device here. So if I do a short press, I can turn the light off they're back on. If I rotate it, I can adjust the brightness of the light. And if I press it down and hold, we can go to a more orange warmth type of tone, or we could go the opposite way and go to a cooler tone, depending on the lighting mood that we're after. A big thank you to Lit Ones for supplying this light for this video. Without companies like you guys, we wouldn't be able to do something like this, and we really appreciate the support. So if you want to support us, guys, the link is in the video description. It's actually pretty good value, and at the end of the day, your eyes are priceless. You wouldn't trade them for any amount of money, so anything that can help with eye care, I think is a positive. Any codes, links, I'll leave down in the video description. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, 1440p, ultra settings. Let's get it. Hopefully we don't fall off this big branch. If we stay along the path, we should be all right. I love the details in this game, it's pretty cool. Oh, check out that tree. Woo! That's a huge tree. The home tree, look at that. That is absolutely incredible. Our FPS is sitting around 75. The CPU is at about 62 and the GPU 57. CPU is actually doing a lot better than I thought it would. Doing the Dark Ages, 1440p Ultra Nightmare mode, let's go. All right, I need, boom. There we go, we got bullets. Yes, go, get him, get him. Go, go, get him. 80 FPS, guys, 56 on the CPU, 58 on the GPU. We got him. What an absolutely crazy rub with this build. Honestly, I didn't think that CPU temps would be as good as they were in the 50s and 60s. I was expecting around the 70s. And to be honest, I really love the look of this case. The only problem is, I just feel like it needs to be refined a bit more to avoid all of these little hiccups along the way. But what do you guys think? Do you want to see more unique builds like this? And if you like unique builds, then you can check out this build where we built something truly special. I think you guys are going to enjoy. Go check it out. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing. We'll see you in the next one.